Y a-t-il du courrier?
Oui, il y a une lettre d'Anne.
Ah bon? Quelle nouvelle?
On va voir. Non, ne vous asseyez pas sur cette chaise-là. Mettez-vous ici, vous serez mieux.
Oh, les boutons!
N'est-ce pas? Les voulez-vous?
Je les veux bien. Merci, papa. Oh, c'est une longue lettre.
Oui, il y a 6 pages. Cher cousin, j'ai souvent pensé à vous ces derniers jours. Vous souvenez-vous de nos conversations sur les châteaux? Eh bien, je les ai tous trouvés ici, dans la vallée de la Loire. Nous y sommes depuis plusieurs jours. Je crois que de tous les châteaux que nous avons visités, c'est le château de Chambord qui est le plus frappant. Il est situé en pleine forêt et on y arrive par une charmante route de campagne.
Le château est bien placé dans cette grande forêt.
Vous allez trouver ici un vrai château de fantaisie. François Ier l'a fait bâtir sur un plan italien. Mais il a laissé à ses maçons et ses sculpteurs toute liberté d'imagination.
Je suppose que c'est le plan italien qui donne au château son bel équilibre.
C'est probable. Mais c'est son air de fantaisie qui frappe toujours à première vue.
Le château comprend 4 étages.
Je crois bien en avoir des photos. Oui, en voici plusieurs.
Au rez-de-chaussée, on logeait la garde personnelle du roi.
Ici?
Oui. Le premier et le deuxième étage ne comprenaient que des salles de réunion. Et le troisième, les appartements de la cour. Ce sont les escaliers et les cheminées de chaque appartement qui donnent à Chambord son air de fantaisie. Puis, nous sommes allés rejoindre le groupe qui était en train de visiter le château. Nous sommes entrés par une porte de la façade sud. D'abord, j'ai été un peu déçu. Je m'attendais à voir un château meublé, mais il n'y avait que 2 ou 3 choses dans le musée. Il y avait quand même un vieux carrosse, une tour qui autrefois couronnait l'appartement du roi, et un magnifique poêle en faïence. Le chef-d'œuvre du château, c'est l'escalier central. C'est un escalier double. Il monte de bas en haut, et les gens peuvent monter et descendre en même temps sans se croiser. Vous voyez, même autrefois, on comprenait l'importance du sens unique.
Sens unique, je comprends pas.
Sens unique veut dire une seule direction. Au premier étage, nous n'avons trouvé qu'une salle en partie meublée. Il y avait une peinture au-dessus de la cheminée et sur les murs, des tapisseries de grande valeur. Au premier étage se trouve le théâtre où l'on a représenté pour la première fois la pièce de Molière, Le bourgeois gentilhomme. Ici, le plafond est tout sculpté avec des F et des salamandres. Vous vous souvenez, n'est-ce pas, que la salamandre était l'emblème du roi François Ier. Le roi assistait à la représentation de la pièce d'un petit balcon qui donne sur l'escalier central. Du théâtre, nous sommes montés aux appartements. Et voilà que j'ai été très surprise. J'avais imaginé que l'escalier donnait sur un couloir et une série de portes. Mais au lieu de cela, je suis arrivé sur une terrasse, sur le toit. Il y avait je ne sais combien de petites maisons. Chaque appartement était une petite maison avec son propre escalier et sa propre cheminée. C'était comme un petit village sur le toit. La vue d'en haut était superbe. J'aurais aimé rester sur la terrasse. Il me semble que le gouvernement français ne profite pas d'une bonne occasion. De tels appartements devraient rapporter un bon loyer. Oui, j'aimerais rester sur la terrasse. C'est un endroit superbe pour passer les vacances. Mais voici qu'il est déjà tard. Et mon oncle veut partir pour Orléans de bonne heure demain matin. Veuillez m'excuser si je vous quitte subitement, votre cousine Anne.
Anne a de la chance. Il me semble qu'elle en profite bien.
Fin. Hi everybody, I'm Skip Alzheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime streaming show where I'm trying to nudge everything like... I moved the camera and then everything just went haywire. You can see that the club painting is back because I dropped it and broke the frame, so I got a new frame. And I'm trying to make room for the YouTube plaque that I earned because of you guys. So we're working on that right now. Anyways, we watch old 16mm films here at the AV Geeks Lunch, and that was a part of a series Encyclopedia Britannica put out, mostly filmed by Milan Herzog, who was an American filmmaker, who did a lot of work for Encyclopedia Britannica and also some other educational film companies. So speaking of Encyclopedia Britannica, let's go ahead and get our... Where's that thing at? Where is it? Go ahead and get our James Brill on. I had it written down here. James Brill on. And learn about how we're mispronouncing some words. This is Wheat Farmer. Enjoy.
Golden fields of heavy-headed grain, the goal of thousands of wheat farmers. A typical farmer of the wheat belt, Mr. White, begins his year's work by turning over the fertile soil of his fields with gang plows pulled by his tractor.
I'll take it now for a few hours, Dad. Finished 25 acres yesterday, Tom. Ought to be done by Saturday night. Sure, we'll make it, Dad. How's this holding out? Enough left for a couple of hours.
With modern machinery, Mr. White and his son Tom can put in a crop. 25 acres a day of broad, level prairie land plowed up, a fertile seed bed for the wheat. After the soil is prepared, drilling time. Into the hopper of this them regulates the flow of seeds. At the ends, these are like tiny valves, making its own furrow into which the seed falls. The loose soil covering the wheat as it is planted. After the planting, Mr. White looks for rain. Rain to keep the dry soil from blowing and to germinate the tiny grains. Rain enough to cause his wheat to grow, but not the severe storms that often beat down his growing crop or drown it in stagnant pools of water. Rain to keep harsh, sand-laden wind growing crop. While the wheat is growing, wheat farmers have many other tasks, dairying, for example. For the cat. The milk and butter thus secured are welcome additions to the diet and income of the White family. Much time is occupied also in making necessary repairs. There are social activities as well.
Tom,
Yeah?
I have a letter here for you.
Who's it from?
I think it's about the 4-H club meeting.
Open, will you? My hands are dirty. Yes, they want us both to be on the club program tomorrow night.
Do you think you can get your face clean by that time?
Well, I'll work on it.
At this time, we will have several projects.
I took care of them, and this year we have plenty of berries for our own use.
Training in cooking.
And I found that very careful sifting of the flour will improve the texture of the cake. At least my little brother to like it.
Livestock improvement.
I started the care of my calf on May the 5th. First, I had to teach him to drink milk from a pail. And then when he was older, I started feeding a mixture of whole corn and cottonseed meal. And now that I plan to show him at the fair this fall, I've been brushing him every day and breaking him to holler so I can exhibit him.
Such activities as the 4-H clubs combine the social and business life of the youth in the wheat farm belt. But now the warm sun and the kindly rain have brought the crop to maturity. The heads full of mature seeds are beginning to bend as a sign of ripeness. Mr. White strides into his field of golden grain and takes a few sample heads for testing. He crushes the heads between his hands until the chaff and grain are separated. The grain is full and dry. It is time for harvest, for the entire field seems to be evenly ripened and midsummer storms are threatening. Mr. White must have help, and quickly.
516F2. Hello, John. This is HW talking. Want to start combining tomorrow. Can you run the machine for me? All right. See you in the morning. You drive a tractor? I need a couple of harvest tanks. So I'll leave. I live 8 miles north.
Wheat must be harvested and stored without delay, and the combine is Mr. White's way of doing it. From early morning till late at night, the harvest goes on. Harvesting wheat is hard work for all, and the farmer's wife does her part by providing sumptuous meals. High noon and time for dinner.
Time for dinner!
Or for the pumps, for the water with which the hot harvesters wash away of the field and cool themselves before eating. A hearty meal and a short rest thereafter do much to banish the fatigue of the long harvest day. There are no flaky appetites among a group of harvest hands. The food on the table vanishes like the grain in the fields under the blade of the combine. And woe to the expectant harvester whom the pie plate reaches last. After dinner, dishwashing for the women folk, and the men are once more back in the dust of the harvest field. The sky promises at least temporary continuance of clear weather. And the combine goes tirelessly on, making the best of each sunny hour. A sudden storm at this time might ruin all the standing. The combine reel turns constantly, each blade reaching out and bringing back the heads of ripened wheat to the cutter. They fall backward and downward upon an endless canvas belt which passes them on into the body of the machine. Here the grain is separated chaff. Acre after acre ripened heads fall before the blades of the reel and cutter bar and are carried upward into the maw of the machine. Each time the combine circles the field, it cuts a 20-foot swath of ripened wheat. The modern combine cuts just below the head of the grain, leaves the straw standing. The tall stalks are later plowed under for fertilizer. And now, the hopper on the combine is filled with the threshed wheat. At a signal, a waiting truck drives alongside and is loaded with a deluge of grain. For a moment now, the harvesters pause and enjoy a cooling drink. From loaded combine to loaded truck, the grain thus leaves the harvest field. Without hay, the wheat goes away to the nearest elevator, for today's market may be favorable. This is the harvest field routine, from dawn to dusk. From field to combine, from combine to truck, and from truck to elevator. At the elevator, located on a spur of the nearest railroad, Mr. White sells his grain. Some elevators are cooperative, some are owned locally. These two simple devices, the end gate on the truck and a grated on the driveway beneath, permit rapid delivery. The wheat harvest travels. Processed and mixed and kneaded. Mixed and kneaded and weighed. Weighed and rolled and put into pan and baked. Baked and sliced for our convenience. Bread, our half of life. Toil of 1,000 farmers graciously grant a golden harvest.
Wow, that was insanely splicey. So every time there was, like, you heard a thump or there was a break in his narration, in James Brill's narration, that was a splice. So basically a frame or two was taken out, maybe more. And that was a lot of splices. Sometimes that happens at the beginning of the film or the end of the film, but this was all throughout. So here's my guess. I don't know this for sure, but I would guess this is happening. Is that somebody ran this film and they didn't have it threaded right, and so periodically sprockets would get torn. And so someone at the library went in and removed those torn sprockets, and basically repaired the film. But holy cow, that was really nuts. Speaking of nuts, here's a film that I never thought people would be into. I was like, who cares? But this got a lot of views, and actually I sold some stock footage from this film. This is Wild Fowl in slow motion. Go figure. Enjoy.
Many people have seen some of the wildfowl shown in this picture, but few have had the opportunity to study them in slow motion. First, meet the little western sandpiper. Not big or spectacular, but a nice fellow. The dowitcher, or robin snipe, is a valuable insect destroyer. Watch him get that bug. The marbled godwit is also an interesting creature. The avocet is one of the largest and most showy of all American shorebirds, also destroying many insects harmful to agriculture. Fortunately for its own welfare, it does not make good eating. The willet. once very plentiful, is now one of our rare shore birds. Watch this pair alight, like a team of graceful ballet dancers. Here's the canvas-back duck. Its widely webbed feet are used for more than just paddling. These redhead ducks are very closely related to the canvasbacks, but they have larger and rounder heads and much shorter bills than their cousins. Sometimes his self-starter seems a little cold. Both the redhead and the canvasback breed as far north as Alaska and winter as far south as Mexico and the West Indies. Another variety, the pintail. This mother seems very proud of her large family. The drake of this species is an attractive bird, and although the pintails are among the shyest of all ducks, they are probably the most widely distributed. The fast and spectacular takeoff of a pintail drake is a sight to see. The pintail feather gives him his name. The shoveler drake is also a handsome duck. Poetry of motion combined with the enchantment of color. The scalp, or broadbill. In some sections, he is also known as the bluebill. Slow motion vividly portrays the technique of the takeoff. This might be called walking on air. The scalp is found all over North America. One of its regular wintering grounds is within the city limits of New York. Often as many as 50,000 spend the winter in Flushing Bay. These two handsome bald-pate drakes fly behind and beside the female until she chooses one of them for her mate. The blue-winged teal. No water walking for him. He can leave all other ducks far behind and is said to be able to fly at a speed of 90 miles an hour. Ducks are not normally quarrelsome, but sometimes the presence of a female starts a real battle, as this one between two blue-winged teal drakes. Here, 9 ambitious drakes pay ardent court to a single female. This bald-pate, or American widgeon, takes off with a hop, skip, and a jump. He really climbs into the air. As his flight progresses, he gradually draws up his landing gear. Like most of our other ducks, the bald-pate, or American widgeon, is a great traveler. They may spend the nesting season in Alaska and go as far as Central America or the West Indies in the winter. In the Atlantic, they have been known to travel as far as Bermuda, the Azores, and the British Isles. In the Pacific, the Hawaiian Islands, even Japan. They are very shy birds, and when alarmed, fly off with a constant melodious whistling call. The most noble game bird of all is the Canada goose. This female is on her nest. When she leaves to get food, an opportunity presents itself to get a closer look at her family. And what a nestful of fuzzy little goslings she has. The Canada goose is a big bird, weighing from 8 to 11 pounds. Occasionally, an old gander may weigh as much as 14 pounds. In spite of his powerful wings, which sometimes reach a spread of 3.5 feet, the Canada goose does not get into the air rapidly. Once in flight, he is a powerful and tireless traveler. There is no more thrilling sight than a great V of migrating geese, silhouetted against the wind-blown clouds of an autumn sky. Canada geese mate for life and do not change partners every year, as most birds do. They are always a devoted pair, and only death separates them. The beautiful snow goose is sometimes called the white brant or the wavy. When a large flock of snow geese come winging in, it's a rare sight to behold. The great white pelican, big, immaculate, with the ponderous dignity of a newly appointed judge. Birds are essential because they help to maintain nature's balance wheel. We hope that this picture will serve to increase your understanding and interest in their conservation, for wildfowl contribute much to the pleasure and welfare of mankind.
Sorry. Here's resources in the crust. Speaking of sandwich and bread, enjoy.
This rocky surface is a part of the Earth's crust. This crust is the Earth's outer covering. Compared to the whole Earth, the crust is relatively thin. It averages about 20 miles in thickness. Yet, man obtains all of his mineral resources from this crust. We can group the mineral resources this way. Metallic minerals, such as this iron ore. Non-metallic minerals, such as this sulfur. And mineral fuels, such as this coal. Most metallic minerals are found in formations called igneous rock. The majority of the non-metallic minerals, as well as our mineral fuels, are found in sedimentary rock. A few non-metallic minerals are found in metamorphic rock. Metallic minerals are found throughout the world, as are the non-metallic minerals and the mineral fuels. This copper axe reminds us that metallic minerals were used as long ago as 5000 BC. Combining copper with tin produced bronze, a harder metal. But the hardest of the ancient metals was iron. Although iron was widely used, many centuries were to pass before iron came into the extensive use we know today. Here we see one kind of modern iron mining. Here the iron ore in the Earth's crust lies so close to the surface that it can be dug from open pits. Like most other minerals, iron ore is a chemical compound. Besides oxygen, the ore usually includes unwanted substances mixed with the iron. Iron ore is sent to a smelting plant, where huge furnaces are used to separate the iron from oxygen and other impurities in the ore. Most of the iron produced in the United States undergoes further treatment, which converts it into steel. Whether used as a delicate watch spring, or as a heavy piece of machinery, or as a ship's hull, the steel that comes from iron ore plays an important part in our everyday life. Copper, one of the ancient metals, has been widely used in electrical wiring. But today, copper is being replaced by aluminum and other newer metals for some purposes. Aluminum, in addition to being lightweight, is easy to fabricate into a variety of shapes. This is bauxite, the ore from which aluminum is extracted. Bauxite is the most widely distributed metallic compound in the Earth's crust. Aluminum is extracted from its ore by an electrolytic process. Then the metal aluminum is fabricated into many different products, such as cable and sheeting. Sometimes aluminum is alloyed with another light metal, magnesium. This alloy is used in the manufacture of many strong and lightweight products. Metallic minerals are distributed throughout the world. Today, most of the world's iron comes from these areas. Most of the world's copper comes from these areas, while the known supplies of aluminum are distributed throughout the world. The refining of most metallic minerals requires vast sources of energy. Fortunately, the Earth's crust does provide vast sources of energy in the form of mineral fuels, such as coal. Most mineral fuels are found in sedimentary rock. It is believed that in this rock, once living organisms have been changed into mineral fuels. Time, plus the forces of heat and pressure, change the organisms into coal, oil, and natural gas. Coal is one of our oldest fuels. It can either be mined from surface deposits, as in this strip mining operation, or from underground mines. Although coal is becoming less important as a fuel, coal is the source of important byproducts, such as these drugs. Coal is no longer our main source of power. In highly mechanized countries, oil has become an important source of power. Oil, like coal, was also formed deep within the Earth's crust. Another mineral fuel, natural gas, is often found with oil deposits and may have been produced in the oil forming process. Natural gas flows from wells like this. It is then compressed to force it through thousands of miles of pipe so that it may be used to heat our homes, as well as factories. Today, the Earth's crust is yielding new mineral fuels. They are radioactive minerals, and contain more energy than man has ever known. This atomic reactor uses uranium, a new mineral fuel. In addition to the mineral fuels and the metallic minerals, the Earth also provides many non-metallic minerals, including many essential building materials. Granite is an important building material. So is clay, from which bricks and tiles are made. Limestone is another building material. Limestone and clay are the materials from which cement is made. Cement is the basic ingredient of concrete, an important building material. Common sand is another important non-metallic mineral. Sand provides the basic ingredient of glass. Glass is used in great quantities as a building material. Still another non-metallic mineral, sulfur, is mined from underground deposits in a very unusual manner. Hot water and compressed air are pumped underground, where they melt the sulfur and force it to the surface. The melted sulfur is then allowed to solidify. This is an immense block of hardened sulfur. Later, the sulfur is broken up and loaded into boxcars. Most sulfur is destined for the chemical industry. Another important non-metallic mineral used in industry is salt. The ocean is one source of salt. Millions of years ago, ancient shallow seas evaporated, leaving large deposits of salt. Today, these deposits of salt are often found underground, having been covered by other minerals. This gigantic salt mine, lying beneath the city of Detroit, Michigan, is one of the largest in the world. Millions of tons of salt are consumed every year. Salt is essential to the diet of most living creatures, including man. So, salt is one of the most important non-metallic minerals. The list of non-metallic minerals is almost endless. So it's not surprising to learn that non-metallic minerals such as these make up most of the Earth's crust. We have seen that within the crust are found three groups of mineral resources. These resources will not last forever. Abandoned mines are a sign that mineral sources can be exhausted. But there are methods of conserving the resources in the Earth's crust. We can use efficient mining techniques in extracting mineral resources from the Earth's crust. We can process our mineral resources carefully without waste. And we can increase our supply of mineral resources through scientific investigation of the Earth's crust. With wise use, the vast resources of the Earth's crust will continue indefinitely to supply man with the many materials he needs for the complex world in which he lives.
Yeah, so I was eating a sandwich, so I apologize. My mouth was like covered with mustard and it was a mess. So that's why we jumped to resources in the crust. And yeah, it was a beautiful cornet film. Every once in a while well, let me say this. In my collection, every once in a while we would run across a really nice color print. That was a Kodachrome print of a coronet. Now that we were scanning the coronet films, we're finding that they shot almost everything in Kodachrome. Then they would make a print in Kodachrome, and then they would make a black and white version. In distribution, they would also distribute in Ektachrome, or Eastman color, which would fade red. And so that's why a lot of stuff you get looks kind of reddish, and we try to bring back the color, but it's a big pain. Yes. All right, so what do we got? Next is a film that is on the scanner, which is right there. And you can see I'm still working on hanging stuff. I didn't do a very good job. That is my MO. Anyways, this is called the Blue Dashiki. Enjoy. On the film, on the scanner, correct? 1 second, please. Yeah. Maclovia. That's the director, producer, and Maclovia. I gotta look that up. That's kind of crazy. Maclovia. Maclovia. That's a film. A dramatic film. Latin, but that's not. Yeah, let me see if. Yeah, this is what you guys gotta love. This. You're watching me type into. Let's see. Maclovia, Martel, Maclovia. Yeah, I don't know. That's a crazy name. I can't really find anything else about it, but there you go. I love that film. I apologize, like halfway through it changed color stock and got even redder. And so I was on the fly trying to correct it, but it made everybody greenish purple, which might not have been very palatable. But and certainly the Dashiki, I don't think it was blue. I think it kind of its color was not correct. But what a great story, man! I love films from the late '60s. The Encyclopedia Britannica made, trying to tell more urban stories and include more people of color and different cultures. And that one was glorious. I love it. Well, thanks for joining us today. I'm going to end a little bit early because I have a bunch of stuff to do. But look, I have to kind of rehang these things behind me. But thanks for tuning in. If you happen to be in the Raleigh-Durham area of North Carolina, I'm doing a screening at the Alamo tonight at 7 o'clock. It's Anxious Animated Agendas, and it's films that were not shown on Saturday mornings, I don't think. And they were mostly films that have agendas, including one's about dangerous strangers, one's about racism, one's about pies. All of them are really great. So I'll be there showing the films on an actual projector, and I would love to meet you in person if I haven't already. Love to see you. But thanks again for tuning in. As always, you can hit the like button, the thumbs up button. You can subscribe if you haven't done that yet. You can also hit the super thanks button and donate some money so we can buy things like tape measures. I somehow lost a tape measure in the stacks, the film stacks, and I cannot find it, so I had to go buy more tape measures until we find the other one. And you can also buy us coffee at ko-fi.com/avgeeks or go to patreon.com/avgeeks. Those are all ways you could support us and say, hey, Skip, we like that you're showing us films, because I like showing you films. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. And if I don't see you tonight, I will see you tomorrow. Everybody take care.